You are a king and she is a queen. So how do you click and connect in a relationship? We're going to talk about 4 to 5 really key critical principles. And I want to say this from the start. How do I know this information? Because I've done it the wrong way. How do I know this information? Because I've done it the right way. And the right way is always better and more effective. So, number 1, compatibility. If you as a king are going to connect with your queen, right, for true connection, the two of you better be compatible. That compatibility is going to be seen in just natural temperament, beliefs, values, what your vision is, what you want for the future. You see, as a king and as a queen, her job is to help you become the best version of you. Your job is to help her become the best version of her. But how can we do that if we are not equally yoked? We better be equally yoked in faith, vision, values, how we see the world, what we want from the world. Or else we're not traveling on the same path. We're at a crossroad, a diverging path, which is never going to lead to an outcome. Now, once we've mastered compatibility, understanding who we are, whose we are, and what we are, number 2 is communication. I know communication is like a cliche subject, but I really want to emphasize 2 things: consistency and conflict resolution. Let's talk about consistency. See, you cannot know, relate, empathize, and understand someone whom you don't consistently communicate with. Just like you can't know God if you're not going to consistently pray and read the good book to understand everything there is about everything as it pertains to the relationship. That's called having a relationship. Relationship means we relate. Ultimately, another word for a relationship is intimacy. Into me, you see. So guess what? That only happens through consistent communication at the onset of the relationship, in addition to the ongoing maintenance of that relationship. The data proves that you need to have at least 45 minutes of quality conversation with your long-term relationship partner or spouse in order to maintain a healthy connection. Why? Because we are ever evolving and growing. Who I am last year is not who I am today, nor is it who I will be in 10 years. I will become the better version. But guess what? That comes through consistency in our communication. And yet that also happens through conflict resolution. Another way I want to put it is having what I call courageous conversations, meaning sometimes there are certain things, good, bad, or indifferent, that just need to be said. And certain things, good, bad, and indifferent, they just need to be heard. And so courageous conversations means this. Number 1, yes, the first 2 years is it's the easy train, right? That's called the honeymoon phase, which science has proved cannot last longer than 2 years. After that 2 years, guess what? We're going to enter the most difficult part of the relationship, which is the learning how to fight fair phase. How long is that going to be? It's all based in how proactively and how healthy you as the man lead the relationship. Learning how to fight fair could take a year, could take 2 years, could take 20 years, could take 50 years, could take never years. If you as a man don't understand how to love, lead, and elevate, because the onus and the responsibility is on you, not her. As I go, so the relationship goes. It's how God ordained it. The word husband means answer man, meaning God has already preordained me to download the answer from him. Also based on my experience, my education, the wisdom, the counsel that I have to answer every matter that we may encounter personally or professionally. But it takes time. Doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey. But you better know where you're going and how you're getting there. And yet, that learn to fight fair phase, the data says we're going to have 1,000 disagreements before we can reach the flourish phase. But guess what? None of that happens without communication, or what I like to call courageous conversation. And yet that happens oftentimes where we're most tested is when we disagree on matters. But it's okay. But you, good sir, better understand how to handle it. Next, when it pertains to our relationship having a true connection, we got to manage expectations. Like, problems are going to arise. but how are you going to handle it? The saying is, it's not what happens, it's how you respond. The Ohio State Buckeyes, I'm Ohio State alumni, raised in Columbus, Ohio, based in Columbus, Ohio. When it was, 2014, and they had to go to the championship with their third string quarterback, Cardell Jones, how was Urban Meyer's staff and team able to actually flourish and thrive despite the unfortunate, unrealistic expectations? It's because they managed their own expectations. How'd they do that? They used the concept that we would be wise to use even in relationships. This even especially relates to business, which is an event happens, ERO, an event happens. How we react will determine the outcome. An event happened, turnover, interception, having to punt, change of possession. They knew how I react in this moment is going to determine my outcome. Same thing in your relationship, king and queen. If you're going to have real connection, you better learn how to manage your own and individual and collective expectations, which is problems are going to arise. But guess what? Because I am the answer man, by God's grace, through experience, through wisdom, through collaboration with you, baby, I know this happened, but here's how we're going to react, because we're going to overcome. That's what a leader does, personally and professionally. And so too do you. So here's the thing. I know the honeymoon is only going to last 2 years. I know we're going to have to go through 1,000 arguments. But guess what, kings? Your queen, God has ordained her to be what? A helpmate. Another translation in the good book, in the Greek or Hebrew, is that the word wife means assistant to the king. Not because she's below you or you're above her, right? Not at all. What it means is the best answer, I think, of what the word wife means, which is it means lookout, lifesaver. So as a king, it's my job to see 180. Where are we going? To lead. It's her job to see the rear 180, to be the lookout, to be the lifesaver. And guess what? We create a 360 infinite opportunity to win when we work together, we love together, we lead together. But that's a double responsibility. So in managing expectations, why do you think if you've ever been to a wedding, what do they say? In sickness and health, for richer or poorer. Why? Because some wise man and woman knew that life wasn't going to be all, white picket fence and rainbows every day. It's just not. Life don't work like that. Never has, never will. So disappointment usually settles in a long-term relationship when there are unrealistic expectations no longer being met. So as a king, to love, lead, and elevate her means you expect that there are going to be times where things are going wrong. And in fact, you probably don't have a healthy relationship if you're not coming into moments of misunderstanding. But how we lead and how we love and how we elevate through it is going to make the entire difference. And so understand that challenges are going to come, but how, when an event comes, we react is going to determine our outcome, because I am the answer man. She is the lookout and the lifesaver. We do this thing together, baby. That's what we do. And then last but not least, I keep mentioning it, but I need to keep mentioning it. How to have a true connection, king and queen, is quite simple, which is the two of you are going to have to love and lead each other. And I'm going to share something of great transparency. For me, before I knew I was ready to make a decision of elevation as it pertains to my relationship, personally, I prayed for a circumstance that would test who I am, who she is, and who are we together. I prayed for that. Why? Because I understand where we are and what happens in the next 10 to 15 years. I understand that great responsibility or great wealth produces great responsibility. So I need to know exactly who you are when the pressure is on. I need to know when you're squeezed like an orange, I need to know what's coming out. But here's what I'm going to say, king and queen. If I'm squeezing an orange juice, what I'm going to extract all of the juice. And the more pressure I put, the more juice I'm going to extract. But guess what's going to happen? More pulp. But here's the thing. The 80%, The good stuff, the juice, which is what I want, that's the easy part. The 80%, we're going to have to strain that. What does that mean? That means I'm going to have to pour it through a filtration or some sort of straining device where we catching all the juice, but we getting rid of all of this pulp. Why? Because it's just going to create confusion and complication. But guess what? It takes love and leadership, beginning with you, good sir, that is going to make all the difference in the world. Because ultimately, I am designed to do that. But we do that together. Because guess what? She being your rib, she is designed to do what? What does the rib do? It protects your heart. But the good book tells us it is our responsibility to manage and steward. I am the owner of nothing, as my late great mentor, Dr. Monroe, used to say. I am the owner of everything. I'm sorry. I'm not the owner of everything. I am the steward of everything. So I don't own anything. Correct me. I am the steward of everything. I'm the steward of my time, my resources, my attention. I am the steward of our relationship. I am the steward of our purpose. I am the steward of our marriage. I am the steward of our union. And so therefore, I better behave and act like it. Why? Because you don't ask who can serve you, it's how can I serve others? That's called servant leadership. So it's not about me. It's about doing the work which God sent me to do, making sure I help her to do the same, and helping to make sure that I equip our children's children to also rinse and repeat the same generational wealth and the same generational legacy that is far beyond just money. Money is just one of 58 blessings. Peace, love, integrity, prosperity is the essence of all 58 blessings. And so as the founder of Developer Nation, we want to help you in a holistic manner, assuming that you are called to real estate, whether it be large or small scale. We want to partner with you, educate you, equip you in order to live the work of God that he's called you to. And what that means is once you've been equipped, we're going to teach you how to come before our capital partners under our direction, leadership, to ensure that your project is viable and feasible, wherein through group economics in this community that is Developer Nation, we can build generational wealth for our children's children. But that must be done in a holistic manner, because until we effectively manage our personal lives and personal relationships, and until we manage our own expectations, can we actually exponentially dominate in the arenas to which God has called us. But as always, all things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. Like, comment, subscribe, smash the like button. Definitely helps the algorithm for more content like this. And I will see you in the next episode.